Hello guys and welcome to my third vlog. I already had some footage, so I'm going to use it as a mean of comparison between what I used to do in Portugal and what I do in China. Some of the constraints that I have working here changed my approach to training and coaching, somewhat changing my philosophy. So what is training philosophy? What am I being questioned of? Garrity in his paper in 2010 explained that when someone asks that question, they want to know everything about how you design and implement your S&C program. With that in mind, the comparison between what I did in Portugal working with patients at a clinic and with the elite level athletes that I work with right now sounded like a good idea for this vlog. Caulfield explained the difference between coaching philosophy and training philosophy. The why we do something based on our values, beliefs, and ideology, and the how we do something by understanding a preferred training method or aim of training. An organized and well-thought philosophy can help an S&C deal with dilemmas, make decisions, and handle real-world situations in accordance to their values and practice. I needed to dig back to what brought me to this point in time. The fact that I'm a physiotherapist has an impact on the way that I view the world around me. I've been dealing with people in pain that almost need a constant reminder that their bodies are strong and robust. The influence of the biopsychosocial model into my practice is huge. The holistic approach that I take in consideration when working with someone affects the how of my practice. Since beliefs and principles are often connected to past experience, family, values, or even future goals someone has, I try to make a list of some of the core values I have been raised on. Intent, I related to the ambition and commitment on when doing something. I expect this from everybody working with, and I also do the same. Positivity comes from my experience in ICU. Understanding what people go through when rehabbing after a negative experience show me how positivity affects the outcome of someone training or rehab. Professionalism is mandatory, and I include here show up on time, not being grumpy, dress up properly, attention to words, cooperation, not running away from mistakes, and learning from them, no lies, be fair. These principles are mandatory. Compassion is basically understanding others. Everybody has their own issues, and we should recognize that. Being sympathetic is not hard, and I believe it is highly appreciated. These values take me towards what Lyle called a humanistic approach to coaching. This humanistic approach is a person-centered philosophy or ideology that emphasizes the empowerment of the individual towards achieving personal goals. The goals are normally defined in the beginning of the relationship when I meet the athlete or the client, but are upgraded as the work is developed a long time. My work served more as guidance towards the purpose of someone rehab, giving freedom to the athlete or client or patient to define the way of he or she wanted to go. This is achieved by developing a healthy relationship between me and the person in front of me, based on trust and honesty. When I came to China, though, everything was different. Taking consideration the fact that I do not speak the language, that the organization is highly hierarchy, athletes are not used to think for themselves. The next slide will show a couple of videos of the struggle I have daily trying to spread my message across. Although I cannot feel many of the real athletes, I used my co-worker, Billy, a Canadian S&C coach, to help me show and reflect upon these difficulties. He speaks Chinese, and I particularly ask him to ignore any of my English words and behave, or try at least, as one of the athletes that we work here in the rowing team. I'll play the videos for a while and then comment on them.
We're going to do this. Trigger, Batsu, RDL, Zama, RDL, Trigger. Trigger. Read, okay? Trigger. Go. Okay. And form soon. Relax. Okay? So breathe, keep. Okay. We're gonna do trigger. 1, 2. Okay? So trigger, trigger. Stand tall, okay? And line in. Stop. And back up. Line in. Stop. And back up. Come on. Okay. slow.
One of the things that pops out of the videos is my need for overcoaching or overcueing. Jan said in an article in 2009 that overcoaching normally comes from confusion with teaching methods and excessive concern with safety, an obsession with perfect technique or lack of confidence in coaching ability. The truth is, I feel the need of doing it because I'm not sure if my message is being spread across, as I am not capable to understand their words. Developing a relationship with an athlete here tends to be a bit difficult to that, and handing in frustration is common for the athlete, as he might or might not perform as he also wants to, and to me, as I'm unable to be effective. I kind of shifted my approach and used visual feedback to overcome this struggle. As I do not speak the language, verbal cueing is complicated. Using a visual feedback allows me to at least show what I want and what I do not want to see in a specific training phase or exercise. Adaptation is an important part of this environment, and constant positive feedback seems to be a way of also ensure that the athlete understands what we're trying to achieve. Even though sometimes I feel myself evading too much their personal space with touch or trying to correct some potential technical errors I see, it is a critique to myself that I include as my reflections I do upon my work. Clearly, the freedom and empowerment I spoke about in my work in Portugal is not used here, being more of a coach command type of work. Replying to the first question of this vlog, what I see to be my philosophy, I do believe in an athlete-centered approach, being important to understand what surrounds the athlete beyond the training session. The variables that affect performance are so many that one cannot just look away from it. This shows the importance of a multidisciplinary team and a multidisciplinary approach to the athlete in any environment for an overall improvement in performance. Even though, and I speak against myself, not all of it is applicable here in China. Assessing, not guessing, is mandatory. Decisions need to be made based on important rationale. And without assessing, one cannot make sure a good decision is being made, and cannot reevaluate if the decision was in fact good or not. Assessing allows to move in the right directions, making decisions under a foundation that makes sense. Here, we actually tend to exaggerate testing and data collection. What I call Darwin Law is just a tangible way of understanding the surrounding environment, the constraints one has while developing their job. Understanding the why behind we do changes over time. In adaptation, I also include the search for knowledge, the not settle, the always strive for the excellence and professionalism. Reflections is what I just did. Doing this vlog truly allowed me to look back at what I was and what I am right now as a professional. The fact that I honestly believe in an athlete-centered approach, that I recognize the importance of a humanistic approach, but I do not apply it as I want it here. These reflections is what will help me be a better coach. Am I doing it well? Am I being effective at what I am doing? These questions do pop in my mind almost every day, especially since I have started working in China with these athletes that are working for achieving greatness at the Olympics. I have no doubts that this experience will mark my future as a professional. The truth is, the process of coaching is so dynamic, has so many variables, that defining oneself why and how is actually a complicated process. Obviously, the way we do things is influenced by who we were, we are, and we want to be. The choices we make daily are in the need of being constantly scrutinized, and who better to do that than ourselves? This quote from Tony Marshall paper says it all. We do get better once we reflect upon what we do, just like I did on this vlog. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone is safe.